The law of attraction. Is it real? A scientific and spiritual perspective. Hello, and welcome back to Minecraft. I'm your host and fellow traveler on this journey of discovery. Today, I want to invite you to get comfortable, maybe grab a cup of tea or coffee, and settle in. We're going to talk about something you've definitely heard of, a concept that's both dazzling and controversial, the law of attraction. That name probably rings a bell. It's been whispered in books, shouted in movies, and promised on countless vision boards. It holds the ultimate promise, a life where your thoughts can shape your reality, where every dream can come true. But let's be honest, for many of us, that promise has led to confusion and even disappointment. Maybe you've tried it. You've spent hours visualizing, affirming, and believing. You covered your walls with pictures of your dream house, the luxury car, the round-the-world trip. You repeated positive affirmations until you were blue in the face. And then, you opened your eyes, and reality hadn't changed a bit. Your patience turned into skepticism, and a big question started to form in your mind. Is the law of attraction even real? Or is it all just a beautiful fantasy, a spiritual placebo for hopeful dreamers? If you've ever asked that question, I want you to know that your skepticism is valid. It doesn't mean you lack faith. It means you're a deep thinker who doesn't settle for superficial answers. The problem with the law of attraction isn't the law itself, but the oversimplified, fast food version that has been sold to the masses. A version that leaves out the most crucial ingredients. Today, we're not going to talk about magic wands. We're going to be explorers, carefully peeling back the layers of this concept. We'll examine it under two lenses, the practical lens of neuroscience and the profound lens of spirituality and energy. We'll find out if it's really about sending an order to the universe or if it's a conscious process of creation powered by our own inner strength. And most importantly, we're going to make a major shift together. Instead of using this powerful tool just to get more stuff, we're going to redirect it to attract the things that truly enrich our lives. Authentic relationships, opportunities for growth, and above all, the treasure of deep, unshakable inner peace. This is going to be a deep dive, but I promise it will be worth it. Are you ready? Let's begin. Deconstructing the myth. Why just thinking isn't enough? Let's start by tackling the biggest misconception head-on, the beautifully packaged myth that says, if you can think it, you can have it. Imagine a guy named John. John reads a book about the law of attraction and gets incredibly excited. He decides he's going to manifest a Tesla. Every single day, he spends an hour meditating, vividly imagining the feeling of his hands on the steering wheel, the smell of the new interior, the silent hum of the electric engine. He covers his apartment in pictures of the car, makes it his phone background, and even test drives one to align with its energy. He believes with every fiber of his being that the universe will deliver it soon. 6 months go by. A year goes by. The only things that arrive are his rent bills and a growing sense of frustration. He starts to feel cheated. I did everything right, he thinks. Why didn't it work? John's story is a perfect example of the incomplete, light version of the law of attraction. It's like being given a treasure map that shows the destination, but not the path. John's problem wasn't a lack of belief. It was that he missed the most essential element of all, action. Just thinking without doing is like wanting to bake a delicious cake, but only staring at the recipe. You can read it 100 times, memorize every ingredient, and imagine its wonderful taste. But if you don't go to the store, crack the eggs, and turn on the oven, there will never be a cake on the table. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your intense emotions, these are the recipe, the blueprint. They are critically important. They are the soul of the creation. But action is the baker. Action is the builder. Action is the hands that turn that blueprint into a physical reality. However, not all action is created equal. The law of attraction doesn't advocate for the hustle and grind mentality that leaves you exhausted and burned out. It speaks of a more special, more aligned kind of action, known as inspired action. What is inspired action? It's that brilliant idea that pops into your head while you're in the shower. It's the sudden, strong urge to call an old friend. It's when you're scrolling online and feel inexplicably drawn to a workshop you'd never considered before. It doesn't come from the logical mind calculating, I must do this to get that. It comes from a gentle nudge, a spark of curiosity, a feeling of joy from within. This kind of action usually feels natural, effortless, and right. It doesn't drain you, it energizes you. These are the signs, the breadcrumbs, the universe leaves for you after you've sent out the signal of your desire. But why do we sometimes get these nudges and ignore them? Because of an invisible barrier called resistance. This resistance comes from the limiting beliefs buried deep in our subconscious. It might whisper, "I'm not smart enough to do that." Or it might taunt, "People like me don't get to be successful." It can also sow fear. What if I fail? Everyone will laugh at me. And even the fear of success. If I succeed, my life will change and I'll have more responsibilities. These beliefs are like giant boulders blocking your path. No matter how much you think about the destination, you can't move forward because they're in the way. That's why a huge part of practicing the law of attraction correctly is turning inward to identify and work through these limiting beliefs. So we've deconstructed the first myth. The law of attraction isn't a shortcut. It's a beautiful dance between two partners. The mind, intention and belief, and the body, inspired action. When these two dancers move in perfect harmony, the real magic begins. Your brain's built-in Google, the science of the RAS. So, what's the actual mechanism behind this? Why is it that when we focus on something, related opportunities and information seem to pop up everywhere? The secret isn't some mystical force arranging the world for you. The secret lies in a brilliant and powerful system right inside your own brain. Let's step away from the spiritual for a moment and walk into the world of neuroscience. I want to introduce you to a concept with a fancy name, but a very simple function: the reticular activating system, or RAS. Sounds a bit technical, right? Don't worry, I'll make it simple. Think of the RAS as the personal gatekeeper for your brain. Every second, your five senses are bombarded with millions of bits of information: the sound of traffic, the color of the walls, the temperature of the room, the feeling of the chair you're sitting on, the endless stream of thoughts. If your conscious mind had to process all of this, it would crash instantly. The RAS acts as an intelligent filter. It decides what's important to you and lets that information through to your conscious awareness, while ignoring the millions of other irrelevant signals. So, how does the RAS know what's important? The answer is, you tell it what's important through your focus, your repetition, and your emotions. Think about it. Have you ever decided you want to buy a specific model of a car, say a white SUV, and then suddenly you start seeing white SUVs everywhere you go? Or when you find out you're expecting a baby, you suddenly notice pregnant women in baby stores all over the place? Did the number of white SUVs or pregnant women suddenly increase after you made your decision? Of course not. They were always there. It's just that before, they weren't important to you, so your gatekeeper, the RAS, filtered them out. But once you started focusing on it, once you thought about it repeatedly with emotion, you sent a strong signal to your RAS. Hey, this information is now a top priority. And so the RAS started letting everything related to it onto the screen of your awareness. You started seeing them everywhere. This is the scientific link to the law of attraction. When you focus your thoughts and feelings on a goal, for example, I want to become a professional baker, you're not just sending an order to the cosmos. You are actively reprogramming your own brain's gatekeeper. You start noticing things you previously overlooked. You're scrolling through Instagram and an ad for a baking class catches your eye. You're in a bookstore and find yourself drawn to a book on cake decorating. You're having coffee with a friend and overhear someone talking about how they successfully quit their office job to open a bakery. Those opportunities, that information, those people didn't magically appear. They were always there. But now, thanks to your clear intention and focus, your RAS has opened the door and let them into your world. You start seeing the paths and signs that were completely invisible before. This isn't magic. It's neuroscience. The law of attraction, in this sense, is the law of selective attention. You attract what you focus on because your focus directs your brain's filter. Now, I'd like to invite you to try a little experiment to feel the power of your RAS. Pick a target for today. It doesn't have to be anything big. It could be, today, I want to notice acts of kindness. Take 1 to 2 minutes to really focus on it. Close your eyes and imagine. What does an act of kindness look like? Someone holding a door for another person, a driver letting a car merge, a genuine smile from a cashier. Feel the warmth of witnessing that. Then let it go and go about your day. Don't actively hunt for it. Just carry the intention. At the end of the day, take note. You might be surprised at how many small, beautiful acts of kindness you noticed, things you would normally miss. You can do this with anything. A color, a number, smiles, business opportunities. This is how you actively train your own gatekeeper. The vibe check, the power of energetic resonance. If the RAS is the internal mechanism that helps us spot opportunities, there's also an external mechanism that helps us attract them. This involves a slightly more abstract concept, energy and resonance. Now, energy doesn't have to be a mystical term. Think of it simply as your overall state of being, the combination of your thoughts, your emotions, your physical health, and your actions. Imagine walking into a room. Without anyone saying a word, you can often feel the vibe. A room can feel tense and heavy. Another can feel light and joyful. That's the collective energy of the people in it. Each of us radiates a personal vibe just like that. And the law of resonance, or as the old saying goes, birds of a feather flock together, states that energies of a similar frequency naturally gravitate toward each other. Think of a radio. If you want to listen to a classical music station broadcasting at 101.1 FM, you have to tune your radio to 101.1 FM. You can't be tuned to 95.5 FM and expect to hear Beethoven. Life works in a similar way. If you want to tune into the frequency of joy, abundance, and great opportunities, you need to adjust your inner state to match it. A person who is constantly in a state of complaint, blame, and pessimism is broadcasting on a low frequency. They will tend to attract people and circumstances that match that vibe. Friends who also love to complain, and difficult situations that give them more to complain about. Conversely, a person who cultivates gratitude, optimism, and kindness is broadcasting on a high frequency. They will attract positive friends, unexpected help, and will more easily see the good in any situation. This isn't a punishment or a reward. It's just physics. You can't plant a lemon seed and expect to harvest a sweet apple. Your inner state is the seed you plant in the world every single day. So how do you raise your vibe? It's not about forcing yourself to be happy. It's a process of inner cultivation through practical, daily habits. It can be practicing gratitude, shifting your attention to what you already have. It can be moving your body, walking, yoga, dancing, to release stagnant energy. It can be connecting with nature, spending time in a park, looking at the trees. It can also be curating what you consume, limiting negative news, and instead listening to uplifting music. And perhaps most powerfully, it is the act of giving, of doing something kind for someone else without expecting anything in return. When you actively take care of your own broadcast station, you'll find that the world around you begins to change to reflect that inner shift. The great shift, from getting to becoming. By now, we understand that the law of attraction isn't a magic wand. It's a combination of programming our brain's filter, the RAS, and managing our own energetic state. Now it's time to ask a more important question. What are we going to use this powerful tool for? The mainstream version of the law of attraction often focuses on attracting material things, money, houses, cars. There's nothing wrong with these things. They are part of the human experience, but to stop there is to use a sophisticated instrument for a very basic purpose. It's like using a supercomputer to play solitaire. The true power of the law of attraction is unleashed when we shift our focus from getting things on the outside to becoming the person we want to be on the inside. Let's talk more about attracting great relationships. We all crave genuine connections. We often spend our time searching for that perfect person out there. The law of attraction teaches a deeper, inverse approach. Become the person you want to attract. Do you want a partner who is loyal, a great listener, and compassionate? Ask yourself, am I loyal to my own values? Am I truly listening to others without judgment? Do I treat myself and others with compassion? When you focus on cultivating these beautiful qualities within yourself, you change your frequency. Naturally, you will no longer resonate with people who are dishonest, selfish, or superficial. Instead, kindred spirits will feel your warmth and be drawn to you. Imagine a lighthouse. It doesn't run up and down the coastline looking for ships to save. It just stands, shines its light, and the ships find their way to it. By becoming a beacon of kindness, integrity, and joy, you allow the right people to navigate their way into your life. Or consider attracting fulfilling opportunities. Instead of focusing on a specific job title or a salary, try focusing on growth, contribution, and passion. Ask yourself, what skills make me feel alive when I'm learning them? What problems in the world do I care about? If money were no object, what would I spend my time doing? When you focus on becoming more valuable, the universe will bring you opportunities to express that value, even if they show up in surprising packages. This path is rarely linear. You might start by learning a new skill just for fun, which leads to a small freelance project, which introduces you to a new community, which then opens a door to a career you never could have imagined. It's about following the breadcrumbs of your own curiosity and trusting that they are leading you somewhere meaningful. And perhaps most importantly, there is attracting inner peace. This is arguably the ultimate and most meaningful application of the law of attraction. After all, everything we seek in the external world, money, fame, love, is for a single purpose: to feel happy and at peace. So why not focus directly on attracting that state itself? You attract peace by becoming peace. This is done through practicing deep gratitude, practicing mindfulness to be in the present moment, and practicing self-compassion, especially when you stumble. When you practice these things consistently, you stop begging for peace from the outside world. You are generating it from within. And when you have an ocean of peace inside you, a vast, calm reservoir of well-being, the small waves of external circumstances will have little power to knock you over. The art of embodiment, feeling, is the secret now. We've talked about shifting our focus from getting to becoming, but how do we truly make that shift? How do we convince every part of ourselves that we are already the person capable of having what we desire? This brings us to a crucial, often overlooked step, the true accelerator of this entire process: embodiment. Embodiment means moving beyond just thinking about your desire. It means to feel it in your body, right now, as if it were already your reality. Thinking is a mental exercise, but feeling is what sends the most powerful signal to the universe. It's the difference between looking at a photograph of a warm fire and actually feeling its heat on your skin. One is an idea. The other is an experience. Why does feeling it now work so powerfully? First, it creates a neurochemical shift in your brain. When you genuinely conjure the emotion of your desire fulfilled, the joy, the relief, the security, the love, your brain doesn't know you're pretending. It releases the corresponding neurochemicals: dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. Your body literally begins to live in the chemical reality of your desire before it has physically manifested. This starts to create a new emotional baseline, rewiring you to expect and accept this new reality as your norm. Second, embodiment is the most effective way to bridge the gap to your subconscious mind. The subconscious doesn't primarily speak the language of words. It speaks the language of feelings and symbols. When you simply repeat, "I am wealthy," your subconscious might bring up all the evidence to the contrary. But when you allow yourself to feel the security, the freedom, and the generosity of wealth in your body, you are communicating directly with your subconscious in its native tongue. You are overriding the old program of "I can't have this" with the much more potent message of "I already am this." So how do we practice this? One powerful technique is sensory visualization. Don't just see your desire, involve all 5 senses. If you want that house by the sea, don't just see a picture of it. Close your eyes and smell the salty air. Hear the sound of the waves crashing on the shore. Feel the cool ocean breeze on your skin and the warm sun on your face. Taste the fresh coffee you're sipping on your new porch. Touch the smooth, sun-warmed wood of the railing. The more sensory details you can add, the more real it becomes to your brain and body, and the more powerful the signal you send. Another way is to act as if with integrity. This isn't about being fake or living beyond your means. It's about making small, aligned choices from the perspective of the person who already has what you desire. If you want to be a successful, confident author, how would that person spend their morning? Perhaps they would dedicate 30 minutes to writing, not out of a sense of obligation, but because it's an expression of who they are. If you want to be a healthy, vibrant person, what would that person choose for lunch? It's about embodying the identity and the habits of your future self today. Finally, you can practice gratitude for the future now. This is a profound practice where you write in a journal as if your desire has already happened. I am so grateful for the way the morning sun fills my new office. Or I am so thankful for the deep, loving conversations I have with my partner. This practice of future gratitude powerfully shifts your emotional state from one of longing and wanting to one of receiving and appreciation, which is one of the most magnetic frequencies you can embody. The paradox of releasing, how to hold on by letting go. We've talked about intention, energy, action, and now embodiment. It seems like we have all the pieces, but there's one final paradoxical piece of the puzzle that is the master key to making it all work smoothly. It is the delicate art of letting go. Sounds strange, doesn't it? When we want something so badly, why would we have to learn to let it go? This is where most people get stuck. We often confuse letting go with giving up. Giving up is when you lose all hope, when you say, forget it, I can't do this, I don't want it anymore. It comes from an energy of defeat and powerlessness. Letting go, or more accurately, detaching from the outcome, comes from a completely different energy, the energy of trust and surrender. Imagine you plant a seed in the ground. You've done everything you need to do. You chose a good seed, clear intention, provided fertile soil and sunlight, positive energy, and watered it daily, inspired action. After doing all that, what do you do next? Do you dig up the seed every day to see if it has sprouted? Of course not. That would kill the seed. Instead, you trust the process. You trust that, with the conditions you've created, the seed knows how to sprout and grow in its own perfect time. Letting go in the law of attraction is exactly like that. After you've planted the seed of your desire, the act of clinging, worrying, obsessing, and constantly checking, is it here yet? Creates an energy of lack, doubt, and impatience. This energy is like digging up the seed every day. Not only does it not help your desire come faster, it actively blocks the natural flow of creation. When you detach from the outcome, you are sending a powerful message to the universe and to your own subconscious. I trust. I know that what I desire is on its way. I don't need to worry or control everything. I am at peace with the present moment and open to receiving the highest good at the perfect time. This energy of trust and peace has a very high frequency, which perfectly matches the good things you want to attract. You can practice this by creating a surrender ritual, like writing your desire down and placing it in a special box. You can shift your focus to joy in the present moment rather than obsessing about the future. And you can use the powerful mantra, this or something better, to release yourself from rigidity and open up to infinite possibilities. Letting go doesn't mean you stop taking action. You still water the seed every day. You still listen for those inspired nudges and act on them. But you do it from a place of lightness and fun, not from the stress of, I have to make this happen. When the ship goes off course, understanding failures. I know there will be moments on this journey when, even after you've planted the seed, watered it, and let it go, your garden remains quiet. You look at others, and it seems like they get everything so easily. Discouragement, disappointment, and the question, why not me, begin to rise. These are the moments when our faith is tested the most. And they are also the moments when we need to look deeper, not with an eye of judgment, but with an eye of curiosity and compassion. What's really happening when the law of attraction seems to fail? Perhaps it's the truth of divine timing. We live in a linear world and we want everything right now. But creation in the universe has its own rhythm. Sometimes your desire hasn't arrived not because it's not coming, but because the timing isn't right. Maybe you need to learn a few more lessons. Maybe the people involved need to fall into place. Maybe an even better opportunity is being arranged. Trust that a delay is not a denial. Or perhaps what look like tests are actually recalibrations. Obstacles on your path are not tests to see if you're worthy. See them as opportunities to recalibrate your compass. A closed door might be there to show you that it wasn't the right path for you. A difficulty might be there to help you discover a hidden strength inside you. Ask, what is this obstacle trying to teach me? Which way is it pointing me? One of the deepest and most common reasons for obstacles is the conflict between the conscious and subconscious mind. Your conscious mind might say, I want to be wealthy, but your subconscious mind, programmed from childhood, might hold beliefs like, money is the root of all evil, rich people are greedy, or I'm not worthy of having a lot of money. These beliefs, often absorbed unconsciously from our family or culture, act as a powerful countercurrent. It's like trying to sail north while a powerful underwater current is pulling you south. You can row as hard as you want, but you won't make progress until you acknowledge and work with that hidden current. This is when the inner work of healing limiting beliefs becomes absolutely essential. And finally, ask yourself if the desire comes from the heart. Sometimes we chase things we think we should want based on the standards of our family or society. But deep down, our heart yearns for something else. The universe will never fully support a desire that isn't true to your core self. The failure to achieve a societal goal is actually a form of protection, a loving invitation to listen to and follow the call of your own heart. So, when you feel like you're failing, don't rush to the conclusion that the law of attraction doesn't work. Pause, breathe, and use it as an opportunity to look within. Is my compass pointing in the right direction? Is my ship being held back by some old rusty anchors of belief? Or do I simply need to be a little more patient and trust the voyage? Navigating the shadows, the responsibility of conscious creation. As we go deeper into this work, it's crucial to talk about a side of manifestation that is often ignored, a side that requires immense honesty and courage. Let's talk about the shadows. What happens when our quest for positivity leads us down a path of avoidance? This brings us to two dangerous traps: spiritual bypassing and toxic positivity. Spiritual bypassing is the act of using spiritual beliefs to avoid dealing with painful feelings, unresolved wounds, and fundamental human needs. It's slapping a spiritual platitude on a deep, bleeding wound. It sounds like, everything happens for a reason, said to someone in the midst of raw grief, dismissing their pain. Or just raise your vibration, said to someone struggling with clinical depression or systemic injustice. Or I'm attracting this negativity, which leads to self-blame instead of setting healthy boundaries with a toxic person. Toxic positivity is the close cousin of this. It's the relentless, forced suppression of any emotion deemed negative. It's the good vibes only culture that implicitly says there is no room for your sadness, your anger, or your fear. Why are these traps so dangerous for the work we're doing? Because you cannot build a magnificent skyscraper on a rotten foundation. Suppressed emotions don't just disappear. They get pushed down into the subconscious, where they fester. They become the source of our deepest resistance, the very energy that sabotages our conscious desires. They are the invisible anchors holding our ship in place. True manifestation, true conscious creation, requires emotional integration, not emotional suppression. It requires the courage to turn towards our pain, not away from it. It means acknowledging our anger, our sadness, our fear, and our shame without judgment. It means seeing these emotions not as bad or low vibe, but as messengers. When you feel anger, instead of pushing it down, ask, what boundary has been crossed? What part of me is feeling a need to protect itself? When you feel sadness, ask, what have I lost? What needs to be grieved? When you feel fear, ask, what am I trying to stay safe from? What belief about the world is this fear based on? This process of inquiry allows the emotion to deliver its message and then move through you, rather than getting stuck inside you. It is the act of transforming lead into gold, of finding wisdom in our wounds. This is the real work. It's not as glamorous as making a vision board, but it is infinitely more powerful. By integrating our shadows, we are not lowering our vibration. We are becoming whole. And it is from this place of wholeness, of authentic alignment, that our power to create becomes truly limitless. You stop trying to attract things from a place of lack and start creating from a place of genuine inner fullness. Tuning into the signal, the language of intuition and synchronicity. So if we're not just thinking things into existence, and we're taking inspired action, how do we know what's genuine inspiration versus just a random thought? Or worse, a fear-based impulse? This is where we learn to tune into a quieter, more subtle frequency, the language of the universe itself, spoken through intuition and synchronicity. Let's first learn to distinguish between the voice of intuition and the voice of the ego or fear. The voice of intuition is almost always calm, quiet, and clear. It feels expansive and neutral. It doesn't come with a heavy emotional charge or a long, convoluted story. It often feels like a simple, peaceful knowing. It might say, reach out to that person, and there's no drama attached, just a clear, simple nudge. The voice of fear or ego, on the other hand, is loud, urgent, and frantic. It feels constricting and is often accompanied by a storm of what-if scenarios, anxiety, and pressure. It might scream, you have to take this job or you'll be a failure. The emotional intensity is a key giveaway. Learning to tell the difference requires practice. It requires you to create moments of silence in your day to actually listen. Then there are signs and synchronicities. These are the universe's winks, the moments of meaningful coincidence that let you know you're on the right track. It could be repeatedly seeing a specific number, like 11's 11, hearing a song on the radio that speaks directly to your situation, or bumping into the exact person who can help you with your project. These aren't necessarily magic. It's often your RAS, now finely tuned to your intention, pointing out patterns in your environment that are relevant to you. The key is how to interpret them. Don't overthink it. The meaning of a sign is usually the very first thought or feeling that comes to mind when you notice it. How did it make you feel? A true sign should feel like a gentle confirmation, a comforting yes, or a spark of encouragement. It shouldn't create confusion or anxiety. A word of caution: avoid desperately hunting for signs. This comes from a place of doubt and neediness. The most powerful synchronicities are the ones that find you when you're relaxed and not looking for them. They are the effortless confirmations that arise when you are truly in the flow, the true formula, and the journey ahead. So, after our long and deep journey together, does the law of attraction really work? The answer is yes, but not in the way the fairy tales describe. It is a natural, subtle, and profound law that requires our conscious, courageous, and wholehearted participation. The true formula for the law of attraction isn't thought plus belief equals result. The complete and correct formula, the true craft of the mind, is clear intention, RAS programming, plus wholehearted energy, emotional integration and embodiment, inspired action, following intuition, trustful surrender, letting go, equals conscious creation. The greatest gift of practicing the law of attraction in this way is not the things you get. The greatest gift is the person you become on the journey. A person who lives with purpose, connects deeply with others, is resilient in the face of change, and carries an unshakable inner peace born from wholeness. You are not a passive passenger in your life, waiting for good things to fall from the sky. You are an artist, an architect, a gardener. You have powerful tools in your hands, your mind, your emotions, and your actions. Use them wisely and kindly. Start today, not by closing your eyes and wishing for something far away. Start with one small, loving action for yourself. If you're feeling overwhelmed, take 5 minutes to just sit and breathe. If you're feeling lonely, write a kind letter to yourself. If you're feeling stuck, take a walk in nature and ask, what is my next small step? Because a beautiful life isn't built on grand, magical moments, but on countless small, conscious choices and actions, repeated every single day. And that, my friends, is the art of living. That is the craft of the mind, and that is the true, deep, and loving essence of the law of attraction. Thank you for staying with me through this long conversation. I wish you a journey of self-discovery filled with joy and meaning.